How much longer
Cover
does
some
this
of
take
your
there?
face.
Are we soon done?
All right, are we ready? Personally, you've achieved so much early on. How do you deal with that kind of desire to win every weekend and use it for fuel, not as kind of a hindrance?
Yeah, this fire is for sure still burning in me to try to be the best and try to win races. But since Rio, a few things changed. One of my biggest goals I had, winning Olympic Games, I achieved. And since then, I probably was able to change a bit as an athlete, not having that pressure anymore. It's like more, if it still goes well, it's nice. It's a big bonus to achieve more, but it's not like I really have to. It's more like I can race now with less pressure now, and somehow also turn this pressure or this extra pressure you feel from outside. I'm able to turn around and to turn into energy and to motivation. And now I need those big races to actually be at my best, to perform on my best and feel it and see that now everybody is exciting for this, myself as well, and that gives me motivation and energy.
Going back to original motivation, you can hear just from talking to you that you love racing your bike, you love riding your bike. And I know you started both riding and competing quite early. What originally drew you to the sport?
Yeah, first of all, for sure, I grew up on a Swiss countryside in a idyllic small village where there was no soccer field, no basketball field. There is like, it's all about nature, and I enjoyed to be outside and to be active outside, chasing my brother. So I think that was the key motivation to use the bike as a toy and as a tool also to get to school, and I really realized it's a tool I really enjoy to use, and had always fun and explore the nature, and now it's more and more I really love and enjoy to be in nature, to get around with the bike, to get to places where you just can get by hiking or by bike. But then I also have the bike as a fun tool to ride down, to have a bit of adrenaline. I think for me it's the most beautiful sport you can do. You can have the endurance side, the technical side, the fun part, and you're able to discover the nature. That's my biggest motivation, and that's why I don't want to stop. It's still a cool lifestyle to be able and train outside, work on yourself, feel that you're strong.
It's amazing to hear that kind of original motivation, the fun and the joy of riding, and maybe that's even easier to reconnect to now that you've achieved some of those big goals. But what was it that made you want to have that ambition to try to be the best? Was there a moment that you kind of realized you had quite a talent and decided to pursue it?
Being the youngest of three, and always had the pressure to also show what you can, for sure started to have this competition, or this competition need, or I always like to have some races with my brother, with my father, and then I realized I have quite a talent doing competitions. I was always able to handle the pressure. I was, from my first races as a kid, I was always successful, and that for sure helped to keep going, to have the fun and to try out more and get further, and then with more success, I was even more motivated to keep going.
Do you think that initial talent, you talked about handling the pressure well, do you think that was just kind of a physical gift that you grew into, or do you think you have a mental gift as well in terms of how the racing plays out? And what would you say is the relationship between those two? Do you think it's more of a physical genetic ability, or do you think the mindset of racing is what sets you apart?
Yeah, for sure it comes with like having a great childhood, first of all, like being able to develop you as a human, for sure that helped, and having great parents, giving me that room or whatever it needs to develop something like this, a talent. And for sure now, I would say mentally and physically, I got for sure talent. Without the talent, you don't make it to the very best. That's for sure something you just need to have. And I was lucky that I got a mental talent and a physically talent, and then I met the right people along the way that always helped me to even improve me on all those different levels. Yeah. Sun is gone.
Sun is gone. Yeah, you certainly have had that talent, but lots of people have talent. What do you think you attribute your consistency to? I think that's something that you are totally unique in, is the ability to deliver weekend after weekend and season after season consistently at the same level.
I think I was able to build up my career really slowly but steady. I'm with my coach since the very first junior races I had, and we never tried to do any shortcuts. We always were able to build step by step up, and I think that's really a key. And I always also took time to recover in between, especially between seasons. I took a longer break than most other riders. I really also took my time to next to the competition world or to the cycling world, and I think that's now key, that I have such a long career and still able to perform at the very top. That I always also had this time where I was able to relax, to recover, and I never did too much. But there also I was lucky to meet the right people at the really beginning of my career, and been able to build slowly up and never try to make a too big gain in a too short time.
Yeah, you've certainly shown that year after year. I know that you and Nikolai have worked together for a long time, and you have a formula that you've shown can deliver results. But I also know the sport has changed a lot in the last couple of decades. How do you balance your desire to try new technology, to be on the cutting edge? You've certainly had a few new things in the last couple of weeks as well, with sticking to what always has worked for you.
Yeah, for sure. Like the consistency helps a lot. Like having the same people around you, and everybody has the same goals, and everybody's pulling at the same string. But then also be able to change things. It's also important. Like I had a few things in my career where I realized I'm not motivated to do this or this anymore. I need to mix it up a bit. That's also important. That it's not always the same. And I try to keep the things what I was thinking it works, and bring some new stuff in. And so far I was lucky to still able to try new things out, and that are also working. But also there I got a lot of help from the team, from Nicolas as well. And like also I think also there in training, Nicolas was really one of the first that really saw that what mountain bike is and what's the need of, or what you need as a good mountain biker. And I always believed in his ideas and tried to follow. And the success always helped or gave us right. And
Do you
but
think?
I think it's a mix between consistency and bringing new stuff in. That needs to be that mix.
Certainly, that's helped you stay on top with
But
this new generation.
over my career, I always just changed a few things. I more was on the consistency side.
You said Nika had a good idea of what it took to be a great mountain bike racer. And I mentioned earlier, the racing has changed quite a bit. The length of the courses, the technical features, we now have short track. Do you think what it takes to win is changing? I mean, based on your recent results, maybe not. And do you think it will change in the future?
It didn't change dramatically. I think it's still, you need, even if the race duration was quite longer some years ago, since I'm at the elite top, it's still requires almost the same. It like, but the bikes got a bit better, so the courses are a bit more technical, but also like the bikes improved quite a lot from what bikes I'm used at my first World Cups. And you still, as a mountain biker, you need to be a good mix of a bit of everything, and that's still the same. You need to be, you have great endurance, but you need to be powerful to get up the steep uphills. You need to be a technical. You need to be able to sprint if it gets a close finish. It's like you need to be really a complete rider, and it's a compromise between everything. You know, you can't be the best on the climb, but you can't be the best sprinter. But you need to be everywhere. I did many of like tests at the Swiss Sport Labs, and I was everywhere. I was, when you compare to the other Swiss riders, there were, on every aspect, there were other riders better than I, but I was on all aspects, I was better than average. And I think that makes me so strong in mountain biking, because I'm not the best climber, but I'm one of the better ones. I'm not the best sprinter, but I'm also one of the better ones. So that makes me so competitive.
That's interesting. And it's very similar to the kind of consistency mindset, which is not trying to have one race or one day or one season be kind of a Hail Mary, but having the consistency across years, across training, across all these elements of being great. One of the other elements that I think sets you apart is the consistency with which you've been able to train and race, partially because you haven't had tons of injuries and you haven't gotten sick a lot. What do you attribute that to? Do you think it's taking less risk at certain times of the year? Is it a series of decisions or partially luck?
I think it goes into the same, like building up, have a good planning of your training, but also your career, give your body time to rest in between. Don't to try to do shortcuts, you know, like you need, if you want to build up your endurance, it needs time. If you want to build up your power, you can't just like from one year to the next just train more, like much more than you used before. You need to build everything small up, and that goes exactly into the same as having a good training plan. Like then you can prevent injuries, you can prevent to get sick, and I think that goes also in a good planning and a good, and yeah, for sure. Then crashes also need to be a bit. You need to be a bit lucky that you are not involved in bigger crashes or. But the rest, I think, has a lot to do with being well organized and doing a well planning, and not just the weeks ahead, the months ahead, and the years ahead.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense and has a huge impact on each of those steps building on one another. How do you think about being a role model for others as you're looking forward into this period of your career? You've achieved these kind of big goals, and there's the next generation coming. And of course, they all look to you with how to build that plan and how to be consistent. What do you tell them, and what does it feel like to have those younger riders now look up to you?
I think it's important that everybody takes his own way. It's like you can't copy anyone. I think everybody needs to find his own way, what works for him. It's like with training, not everything works for the same, and you need to find your own way and your own happy place, like that it works. You know, in the end, you need to be happy and like have some fun. And I think that's, everybody needs to a bit find his own team, what he needs around his own strategy, and in the end having some fun and don't take it too serious. It's still, in the end, it's just a bike race, and It's awesome if it works out, and I think even if it's not working out, and if you just try it, it's a great life school, and uh, everybody that can go for a while this way should be appreciated. That he can try it for a while, hopefully be successful.
I know that 34th victory and even the 33rd before that were probably a big focus in your life and in your training and in the way that you thought about things for the past few years. Now that you've achieved that, has it changed at all your motivation looking forward?
Maybe too soon to say, but I don't think so. Even if it's like, for sure, this record was somewhere always in my mind and gave me some extra motivation, but it was not the main reason for why I still enjoyed it to do. It's like, it's not what we really got driven. It's like it just gave me for sure some extra motivation. But I think I can also, with more victories, I don't have the problem to find the motivation at the moment. So I don't think it will change.
So the series is called Why We Ride. So the last question is, why do you ride now? Is it still that same early motivation, fun on the bike? Is it chasing that next World Cup victory and adding an exclamation point to that record? Or is it something completely different?
I ride Ryla because I still have great fun. I think and I enjoy the lifestyle as a professional mountain biker. Going out on the bike and call that my job. It's pretty cool being successful. Showing my daughter now how to ride a bike, going shred some trails with her. Travel the world with my friends riding my bike.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
It's not too bad. So
no. Keep an eye out for Lisa in the future. She's coming up quick. Speaking of next generation. Yeah. Nino, thank you so much for being here. It's a very cool opportunity that MIPS has given me to ask you a few questions.